everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this video tutorial, I'm going to be doing two experiments working with primary colors and creating color mixes from split complements. I know it sounds like really fancy schmancy scientific talk, right? Basically, all that means we're going to create mixes with the primaries. Now, why do I have two sets of primaries here? Because if you've been following me with all my videos, you know that with my limited palette, I have two blues, two reds, two yellows, and two greens, where they shift on one side of the color wheel and the other color shifts on the other side of the color wheel. So for this particular exercise, we're going to be creating a triad complement. So we're going to take all three primaries, and we're going to create mixes, but then we're going to take that triad and we're going to shift it working with the other colors. Okay, I know it doesn't make sense, right? Phthalo Blue, the Traditions colors are Phthalo Blue, Alizarin Crimson, Handsy Yellow Light, Ultramarine Blue, Naphtha Red Light, and Handsy Yellow Medium. So let me explain. Phthalo Blue is a blue that leans towards green. Alizarin Crimson is a red that leans towards blue. Handsy Yellow Light is a yellow that leans towards green. So on the color wheel, Phthalo Blue is here. Alizarin Crimson is right about here. And Handsy Yellow Light is right about here. What they all have in common, they all lean towards blue-green. Okay, they all lean towards here. The other set, Ultramarine Blue, Naphtha Red Light, Handsy Yellow Medium. Ultramarine Blue is a blue that leans towards violet. Naphtha Red Light is a red that leans towards orange. Handsy Yellow Medium is a yellow that leans towards orange. So we have here, here, and here. So if it leans towards violet, violet has red, so this set of primaries leans more towards here. So to create the mixture, we're going to take Naphtha Red Light, Ultramarine Blue, and Handsy Yellow Medium leans right about, it leans right here. So we're going to take these ones here to create the mixes. Then we're going to shift over the other way, okay? Then we're going to take Red Violet, we're going to take Alizarin Crimson Permanent, Phthalo Blue, and yellow green. So the Handsy Yellow Light leans right about here. Okay, so my wheel is a bit off. So we're going to take these three and then we're going to rotate and we're going to take these three. Okay, you'll see what I mean. All right, so let's move that up there. And I've got some stuff already prepared. And you can actually do any painting by just taking these three primaries or these three primaries plus white, and you don't even need black. It'll be a little bit harder because you do a lot of color mixing, but this is really all you need. So let's get started first. Let me get this out of the way. The window's open, so hopefully everything will be quiet outside. Let's take Phthalo Blue and go right here. Let's see the true underlying color first. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love doing color studies, especially when working with a paint for the first time. I've done this so often, I don't need to do these studies, but this is just to show you, what to do when you're getting started. Okay, just so you can see the true underlying color. So a blue that leans towards green and a blue that leans towards violet, because you need to know these foundations for your color mixes to make sense. So Alizarin Crimson, this is not the pure Alizarin Crimson. We don't use that because it fades with light. So I'm using DecoArt's closest match, which is really good. You want to avoid using pure Alizarin Crimson. And most good paint companies have their own formula. They often mix colors together, but with DecoArt, what I really like about it, it's a single pigment. So Alizarin Crimson is a red that leans towards violet, and Naphtha Red Light is a red that leans towards orange. Pretty simple, right? Okay. And then we have Handsy Yellow Light. Add a bit of white to that. That one's going to be a little bit harder to see. And rinse. And if possible, if you don't mind cleaning your brushes, try to use clean brushes every single time. That way you don't contaminate your mixes. Alright, so Handsy Yellow Light is a yellow that leans towards green, and Handsy Yellow Medium is a yellow that leans towards orange. So now that we have that out of the way, Now you know why that I created, like, have my palette with these sets of colors. I also have a phthalo green that leans towards yellow and a phthalo green leans towards blue. Not really necessary, because you can take phthalo blue and hence a yellow light to create a bright green as well. And actually, let me just do it right on here. So if we take phthalo blue and then take a little bit of Alizarin Crimson Permanent, and this is going to vary depending on how the ratios that you're going to be using. Looks black, right? Okay, so this is where the magic happens. Although I'm going to be adding white to this to see the true underlying color, you could use it as is or shift it in different directions. In order to shift it, I need to see what it is. So this is where I'll add white. I can see that it is more on the blue, but look at that flippin' blue. Oh my God. That is gorgeous. So I can shift this a little bit more. I could actually, with enough mixing, I can create this into a neutral gray. Let's go with a little bit more yellow, because yellow is opposite. Now, depending on where it sits on the color wheel. Oh, I can see I added way too much yellow, but you know what? Let's see what happens. And as I'm doing this, there's going to be a little bit of white in there. Oh, look at that. But look at that green. Ooh, that's a blue that leads towards green. Look at that. Okay. I need to add a little bit more yellow or more red now. Let's go in here. So there is a little bit of white in here now, just so you know that. Normally you would have the pure paint and then you would take some of that, put it over here, mix, clean your brush. I'm just running out of brushes that are clean. There we go. So now we're getting closer to a neutral gray. This is where you would just, finagle a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. It's still heavy on the blue. I could take a little bit more red to that and a little bit more yellow. Red and yellow is going to make what? Orange. And what's opposite than the color with the blue? Orange. A little bit of white. Let's get a bit more paint in there. There we go. Okay, so you can see that. Now, if you were to go into it, you'd have to buy that, buy that, buy that, buy that. And now just mixing it yourself. What we also know, and this is where it's important to look at the labeling, the transparency of the paint and the saturation is also going to make a huge difference on your mixes. Meaning, if you're going to have a really, really, really bright blue with a really, really, really weak red, the blue is going to overpower. So if we look at the saturation on this, to the intensity, the Phthalo Blue is 11 point. You know what? Where's my other chart? Oh, let me get this one. I may not have it all on here. No, I don't. Okay. So the Phthalo Blue is 11.2. Alizarin Crimson Permanent is 9.5. Hence the yellow light is 12.6. So this is the brightest. Then this, then this. So I automatically know that. See, remember I added the yellow, how it really went green? This is stronger, this is next, and this is the weakest out of these three. And for transparency, they're all semi-transparent, so they'll all, basically they're not, when you have something transparent with something opaque, the transparent color will always lose out because it's transparent. Value-wise, the yellow is 8.3, and the blue is 3.2, and the Alizarin Crimson is 3.9. So value-wise, because these are darker, they will make the mix much, much darker because they will overpower the yellow. So that's why learning about these labels, it's really helpful as well. So let's try to clean that brush. No, I have to get another brush. Another brush. And I like using the round brushes because they don't take as long to clean. So let me make the mix now. Let me go over here. So I'm going to now take Ultramarine Blue. We're going to do the same exercise. Now, Ultramarine Blue with Phthalo Red Light and Yellow Medium. So they're still primary colors, but now you're going to see something a little bit different happening. Okay, Phthalo Red Light. Ooh. This is brown. It turned brown. Remember this was more black? This is more brown. And then we're going to add a little bit of the yellow. Now we have baby poo green. Olive green. Olive green. Let's get some white. Look at that. Nothing like this, right? So what do? Well, this is more of the green, so we know there's quite a bit of yellow in there. Let's go with a bit more red and a little bit more blue, which is going to make this a bit more violet. And let's see what this turns out. Okay, so I can definitely see the red in there. Let's put a bit more blue in there. I could do this all day. Because I've been doing this for so long, I still learn something new. You know why? I could do this exercise an hour from now and it's going to look completely different because I'm picking up different ratios of the blue, the reds, the yellows, and the whites. I'm not using measuring spoons. There we go. And there's your neutral gray. So what did we learn from this exercise? Blue needs to put on their big boy pants because the blue is really, really weak. But look at the difference. So this is much warmer. These are much cooler, much warmer. I am like looking at this thing. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of paintings I could do with these. Of course, ocean scenes. These bricks, dirt, natural grass, desert scenes, all that stuff. Then from here, this is where you shift. So let's say you like this neutral gray. Let's say you want to warm it up a bit more. Add a bit of red. Go on the other side. Hopefully it's not going to dry out. Add a bit of blue. Go on the other side. Add a bit of yellow. Let's take some white to that. Oh, let me just rinse that out. That's the other thing too. Sometimes I'll make the mix and I forget to rinse my brush. Oh, this is drying. And I'm also not rinsing very well. There we go. See? So let's take a look at this. So we know that with this mix it was really intense on the blue. And we could have gone further by adding more red, more yellow, more red, more yellow. So if we take... don't know if I'll have enough in here. So I added more red to this one now. And if we go up higher, I can't see the glare. There we go. Okay, add a little bit more yellow. And it's going to shift it a little bit more. Let's take a little bit more red. So you see how I got the different colors in there? A little bit more red, a little bit more yellow. Let's get some more white. So now it's more on the red side. And then you can take this and go more, was I adding the right yellow? Oh, I hope so. Then you can go more on adding more yellow and a speck more blue, which then is going to turn around and overpower the red, add more white. And all these colors are going to work together because you're only using 3 colors. 3 colors to make these ones and 3 colors to make these ones. They're all going to go together because you're using each of these to make the mixes. So I digress there for a second. So let's turn this around. This, and this. So on the intensity scale, naphtha red light is 14.2, which is super powerful. Hansa yellow medium, oh, I can't hold that, is 13.7, a little bit down from that. And ultramarine blue is 12.8. So they're pretty intense colors. Okay. Value wise, this is 7.9. And the red is 4.4 and this is 2.1. So darkest to lightest obviously makes a lot of sense. So with that, we can see that they're all also semi-transparent. We can see that with this, the red being the most intense on that, just basically we saw that it overpowered everything. You have to adjust the ratios a little bit more anytime you use ultramarine blue. I wouldn't call it a weak pigment, but it is weaker, especially when you see, when you're adding a white. Phthalo blue, you can make a value string going way across the page by adding a little bit of white, a little bit of white, a little bit of white. Ultramarine blue, you'll get maybe half because it's not as strong as Phthalo blue. So there you go. So we've got a bunch of different mixes here, and you can expand. I would suggest, if you get a big piece of paper, is you put your mix in the middle and then just do little flower strings off to create different mixes by adding more yellow. And you can go on and on, just expand. So you would want to do a mix that was more on the red, one more on the yellow, one more on the blue. Then you would take one more on orange, more on violet, more on yellow green, and you can just do all these. And but you want to get that one in the middle, because the one in the middle is going to be technically your chromatic black. And then you would just add a little bit of each of these colors to see how far you can shift it. And don't forget to always add white on the side to see your true underlying color. So I would love to see samples of your primary mix, your triad mixes, and your offshoots of that, along with the values. So create your exercises, post pictures. You can't post pictures in YouTube. So right from there, just head on over to the community or my Facebook page. Post your pictures there so we can actually see what you've done. If you have any questions, post them there. It's much easier to see from a picture than trying to explain it with you typing. So all the engagement I'm doing and answering questions are all over on the other social platforms. Alrighty? So look forward to seeing your pictures. And until I see you next time, stay inspired.